Mami, eu gostava. Mami, deve. Ah, bom, sorry, nossa. Yes, yes. Okay, we don't.
Mike,
Okay, okay.
Mike. Anastasia, please, ban one off your.
I don't understand you. Which one is close to you?
Good morning, class. Okay, so we just need to remind ourselves of this. Immediately you are entering the class, this is the class. It's just as if assume this place to be a physical class. You cannot just enter the class and then be shouting that way when other people are seated. It doesn't always make sense. So if you're in a noisy place and you want to join the class or you are still talking to people, be mindful of when you are logging in so that you can mute yourself. I don't know, but then the worst thing that will happen to us is if these people think we are not paying so much attention or online classes are not yielding the desired results, and then they ask us to start going to school. It will not be funny for us. So please, let's respect the laid down rules for our class. Immediately you are coming in, ensure you mute yourself. Can you see what is happening? All right. Thank you.
Thank you for the information. Noted.
Who is this one? Philip, mute your mic now.
Class rep. Hello, good morning. Good morning, class and everyone. I think the host has the power to mute everybody. If anybody is finding it difficult in muting it, him or herself, the host can mute everybody, please. Because as you just finished making an announcement.
Hello.
Mr. Nathaniel Asongo, can you hear me? Nathaniel Asongo.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so my network logged me out. So coming back, you are now the admin. Can you manage the class for us?
I've been trying, sir.
Okay, I'm thinking that if you cannot do it, you can
Host you back.
you host again by just tapping,
Okay.
and then you still want to make me a host.
Okay, sir. No problem, sir.
And then for the webcast, just in case network logs one of us out and you become the admin, please don't end the meeting. Don't just leave the class. You can tap to add me up as the host, or you can use yes mode to manage the class for us.
Rep, can I ask you a question? Rep,
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
okay, now that you are giving that responsibility to Nathaniel, it can be, there was a time I was a host and I was just adamant on what I was to do. Can you enlighten me so that one day it can be me, so that I will not fumble up in this responsibility?
Okay, so what will happen is you do that in a separate class so that we don't take up the time here for our lecture. I think
It's okay.
The first lecturer is struggling with network.
It's okay, talk.
If
I will
not,
get enlightenment some other times.
okay. So some people had already suggested a need for a Zoom class so that all of us we get abreast of what is how to use Zoom.
Oh,
So
yes. We need
maybe
that enlightenment. It's important.
we'll just do that class one of these days when we are free.
Because I fall victim, as you are telling Nathaniel to take care of as the host. I was once a host and I was being directed to act and I didn't know what to do. So I was stupid.
No. You were not. You were not. All of us, we have learned this thing because somebody taught us or we took our time. That was just your first time. And we hope that if you take your time to learn, you will know it too.
It's okay, no problem. Thanks.
Is Desmond in class? Mr. Desmond, are you in class?
Yes, I'm in class.
Okay, please. I will need to know what's happening with the course lecturer. So you are the host.
All right, fine. Yeah.
All right.
You're saying that I should leave these two people, right? That's what it is. But that's what it means invariably now.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
I'm so sorry. My area. Hello, I'm sorry for this delay. My area is a place that is known for constant electricity because I'm on 33 kVA and light is very constant. You know, so just some minutes to 10 when I was even ready, I was waiting to join the class. You know, the unusual happened. NEPA struck. Mm. I'm a laptop I've been on for some time now. So the battery just went down now. And that explains why I will be unable to share the screen with us. I'm so sorry. It's unusual because normally when this power outage in less than 10 minutes or so, it is restored. You know, I did this from the comfort of my house on Monday with PGD students, Monday and Tuesday. You know, until the rain happens that on Monday. And when I said there was going to be rain, you know, in the break time, I have to run to one filling station and then deliver the lecture there. But this one was not pampered. They took me unaware. So it will be difficult for me to share my screen now until light comes. It's important. So I don't know how you are going to take this. I was like trying to send, you know, my lecture notes to my phone so that I can deliver. What it says it will be difficult for you cannot share screen using your phone. So I'm so sorry. Are we together? Is everybody
Yes,
hearing
sir.
me?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. We can hear you. Sorry for the inconvenience.
It is one of the factors in the country. You know, you bear with me. Who may I know who is the class rep? Who is the class rep? Who is the class rep? Francis, who is the class rep?
Good morning, sir.
I am.
I am, sir.
Okay, Francis, you are. Oh,
Yes, sir.
oh, that is good. That is good. That is good. So I'm at home, and of course I'm at home with everybody, each and every one of us that are here. I can see we are 33 here online. You know, No, very well. Okay, even theory, very. Thank you. I'm at home. I'm at home.
Good morning,
No,
sir.
thank you. You're welcome. Unisa, John, you are welcome. Kenneth, you're
Morning, sir.
Good
welcome.
morning, sir.
Samuel
Morning, sir.
again. Rosemary, you're welcome.
Morning, sir.
Patience, Ondo Hemba, you're welcome. Olema Julius, in Cameroon, Zoma, Nathan, Philip, Manasseh, Gilbert, Jennifer, Iobe, Islam John, Mayoga, Kenga, Usu, all of you. Let me not continue to mention name one by one. Oh my God.
Good
I
morning.
don't have
Good morning,
time.
Doc.
Thank you. You're very much welcome. This
Thank
this
you, sir.
temporary setback, honestly, is annoying. Well, the course is a advanced research method for social standards. Those of us that one time or the other we were engaged each other during the course of a PGD program, we undertook a course like that, and that was a research method for social standard. Basically, the same thing, only that this one now is advanced because it's MSC program. It's MSc program. So, it will be advanced. You see, when we talk of research is a two syllables word, English word, that is re and what? Search. It means what you searched before, you have to research it again. That is to say, the idea of yesterday disputed. You understand? Like now, some of us that are from chemistry background at O level, you learn of John Dalton's atomic theory. In Manchester school teachers, those days, he proposed what we call atomic theory. In one of the theories, he said that atom, ATOM, is the smallest indivisible particle of a matter. That after atom, it cannot be divided to anything again. But with time, that theory was refuted. We know that from atom, we can have what we call electron, we can have proton, and we can have neutron. So what was in existence before yesteryears, based on available fact this moment, it can be disputed upon because the world is dynamic. The world is not static. We are moving in a society that is evolving, that keep changing by day. And that is why research is important. The idea of this Zoom is as a result of research. It's an innovation. You are in the comfort of your home. You are comfort of a place of work anywhere, maybe on holidays, within or outside the country, Nigeria, and you are there listening to me. It's a product of research. And so it is important because what we do yesterday, we will not continue to do it the same way today again. As the world is changing, so we move with the changing time. So it's because of research. And the belief yesterday can be proven wrong today because of research. So the world is changing, so we move with the changing world. Societies, company, institutions, educational institutions, and the world organizations, they embark on research to come out with new findings, with new discovery. The idea of Zoom is a research. Mobile application in a bank is a research. Online banking is a product of research. The use of GSM today compared to Nitel those days is also the product of research. Also, we have the vehicles today, unlike those days that people trek from one place to another, they ride on donkeys. People now can fly in the air. This synchronous learning, remote learning, whereby you can listen to me, you ask questions too. Also, we have a synchronous learning. I can deploy my lectures in a YouTube for you to go and play. That was another part of it. Is all what? Research. So because the world is changing and the society is evolving, we will not continue to remain where we were yesterday, today. We have to move, with the pace of things. Those days when some of us that attended university, we don't have anything like that, Google, ChatGPT, and the rest. If they give you assignments, you have to enter library, you don't even know where you will start from. but today it is made possible. Somebody said that is life made easy, that you have access to all information, online informations, and the rest of them is research. So what is actually a research? We say research is a systematic way of bringing out new facts, new ideas, new discoveries, new findings. Every research is aimed at bringing out new discovery. Something spur you out to undertake a research. And that is why every research is born out of the need to solve what? A problem. It's problem solving. When I started my MSC as a requirement, you'll be asked to write a proposal on what you want to research. That is, what is the propelling force? What is making you to come? So that you will have a direction. We don't embark on the research for the sake of research. There must be a problem that you want to address. So if I may ask, those of us that are here now listening to me, 34, 33 of us now, what is that? What is it that you have in mind that you want to research as you embark on this program now? At this level, you should have something in mind, a topic that you want to research on. It may be a problem that you want to solve, because every research is what is a problem solving approach. I read in a book that somebody spent 437 days. That was from January 1994 to March 1995, conducting life science studies. That is experimental research. Our own, what we're going to embark on is social research, social science research, because our laboratories, we don't go to lab like this, you put one chemical or the other. Our laboratories are the markets. Our laboratories are the farms. Our laboratories are the human being that we interact with, that you go and you conduct interview, you distribute questionnaires, the human behaviors, on the experiences, the psychology, and all of this. So that is what we do. Our own is not experiment. And before you embark on that research, think of the problem that you want to address. I don't know if I begin to do this, whether you'll be hearing. Can you hear me, Steve? Hello?
Yes, sir.
No.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
Yes,
Okay,
sir,
you
we
can
can
hear me.
hear you.
we can hear
Oh,
you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, my event. So that is it. Then, what are these characteristics of research? Number one, research is what is a purposeful inquiry. There must be a purpose for you to embark on a research. Purposeful inquiry. It is not done aimlessly. It is done to exploit new facts, to exploit new phenomena, to develop new theories, and above all, to solve practical problems. During COVID-19, also when the world was plugged into a pandemic, scientists have to come. What do we do? What drugs, what medicine do we do to curb this? Since it has become a pandemic. So people have to go into research. Machines and other things were developed, as a way of bringing the problem to its needs. And again, it must be what? Objective. Purposive inquiry, specific purpose, or objective. It must be objective. So what are the objectives of this research? That is why when we write our thesis, we state what? The objective. The broad objectives and what? Specific objectives. What do you want to achieve? What are those things that you have in mind? After you might have what? Asked questions. And again, a research has the character of being systematic approach. What do we mean? Because research followed a structure and systemic approach. And what are these approaches? If you are embarking on research, you must define the steps. What are the steps? What are the methodologies? What are the procedures to ensure reliability and validity of the findings? Step by step in our research. Social research that we read about, when you go to methodology, you state the steps. This is how I'm going to collect my sample. This is the method sample I'm going to collect. For instance, if I'm to embark on a study that says Makurdi local government, Makurdi local government has 11 council wards. Obviously, it will be difficult for me to carry out the study in all the 11 council wards. So what do I do first? I will first of all have to select a council ward that will be a fair representation of the local government. On the community, so I have to narrow it to particular individuals. Who are the respondents? These are what states. So your research must undertake what systemic approach. Number next, research must be based on empirical evidence. Research relies on empirical evidence. These empirical evidence are obtained through observation, through experimentation, through measurement, or through data analysis. We don't just rely on evidence that cannot be substantiated. For instance, if I said all left-handed people are creative, I concluded, left-handed people, they are creative. Yes, few of them can be creative, but is there proof? Have I carried out a survey involving people that are left-handed to arrive at that conclusion that we warrant saying generalizations of the fact that all left-handed people are creative? No, it must be based on empirical evidence, empirical fact that must be documented. Because in research, when it is done, somebody will make reference to your work tomorrow. One of you here in this class listens to me now. Tio Ivere was my student in her undergraduate days. As he did the research work, and a paper came out of it, we published a paper. The other day, that was last month or so, somebody sent me a mail from faraway Mali country. The person is a PhD student, he said, in one university there in Mali. And he said, I should please help me. How did I carry out this measurement based on our conclusions? How did I arrive at that? So I guided him. He saw that based on the fact, based on what was written. And so another character of research is that it must be based on critical thinking. Critical thinking. Research involves critical analysis, evaluation of existing literatures, evaluations of theories, evaluation of methodology, so that you can identify gaps, you can identify inconsistencies, you can identify opportunities for further investigation. Further investigation is important because in research, you cannot write everything about the whole world. And that is why after your research, we have what we call suggestion for further studies. You've done your part. Which other areas do you want somebody to continue? Because it all has to end. There must be conclusion. critical thinking. I tell the story again of one man, that we studied about in physics those days, our O-level physics, called Archimedes. Archimedes, was a mathematician. He has the problem. How did I do this? How did I solve this? How did I solve this problem? One day, the story had it that he went to bedroom to bath, and he aimed, there was a water in a trough, as he just immersed himself inside the water to bath, the volume of the water, even if it's an object or anything you put inside the water, if the weight of that object is much now, certain quantity of the water will come out. And when it does, the man, out of the problem he has to solve, measuring, his challenge was to measure the volume. The volume, how do we measure the volume of an object? That was actually what spurred him to have sleepless night. That is density, rather, measuring the density, density of an object and discover it to be mass over volume. So he said the weight, mass is measured in weight or kilogram, mass is measured in kilogram. So the density, the kilogram of that will be equal to the volume. And the man, after of joy, came out of the bedroom naked. I don't know if you've heard of the word eureka. Eureka was a Greek word. Eureka meaning I have found it, and I found it. Scientists engages in critical thinking because of what? Research. Very important characteristic of research again is contribution toward knowledge. The ultimate goal of research is to contribute to the body of knowledge within a particular field or discipline. And this is done by you generating new insight, validating existing theory, providing practical solution to real-world problems. Research is not being undertaken for undertaking's sake. Your research must contribute to what? To knowledge. This is section of a research. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, you have summary, conclusion, and recommendation. Then over there, you have contribution to knowledge, suggestion for further study, limitations of the study, and the rest. That contribution to knowledge is very, very important. Even the research you are going to embark upon, it is requested by postgraduate school that you should extract the contribution to the knowledge, write it separately from your work, and submit it to PT school. They want to know, what has your study done to the field of knowledge? And that is why over there we say the study established that. Somebody, PGD students, I was against them, somebody told me that he did a work on the cassava production and poverty alleviation, how cassava production can help in the alleviation of poverty in Makurdi local government, and as the person was able to tell us, if poverty rate is like 10%, the production of cassava has poverty rate reduced. So that person can say that the study established that with the production of cassava, poverty rate reduced from 10% to 3%. Somebody working on let's say, improved variety of rice, improved variety of cassava also can say the study established that with the adoption of new varieties of rice or granite, the yield of farmers increased from this level to this level. Hitherto, it might not have been like that. Nobody knows. But with this, that's what happened. So in research, there must be what? Contribution to knowledge. So you ask yourself, what is it that your study, the study you are going to embark upon, is going to do to the body of knowledge? What will be the significance of this study that you are going to undertake? So ask yourself that question. Then we talk of a research design. Your research, there must be what? A design for your research. And what is research design? We said it's a plan, it's a structure, This plan and structure guide you in the process of conducting research. It will outline the steps, specific steps to take. It will outline the methods you want to use. It will outline the procedures that you will use to address your research question or to achieve your objectives. Your research design, is it going to be on public opinion survey, whereby you are going to use questionnaire and distribute to respondents to extract information, to get information from them based on what you are doing? Your survey, is it going to be the use of time series? That is secondary data that have been in existence over time, that you're going to make use of it? Is it going to be a longitudinal survey? Is it going to be the use of panel data? And all of this, your design will guide you to know what to do. And in this design, if they also help you to answer your objective question, it will help you to test your hypothesis. It will also help you to ensure that your study is valid, that your study is reliable, and that somebody can generalize on your findings. You can beat yourself and say, yes, you've done what is right. You see, today you have a lot of, when it comes to data collections, that's where most students miss it. Some students will stay in the comfort of their home or in their hostels and distribute questionnaires to their fellow mates. And in 2 or 3 days, they return, say they are back from the field. Results from short findings, can they be generalized? And you see, when it comes to analysis, there's a problem because it is garbage in, garbage out. It's whatever thing you insert into the system that the system will bring out for you. Certainly, there will be output. Yes. But it depends on what your output will be. Hello, class. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good.
We
Yes, we
are
are
together.
with you, sir.
But since we are not seeing your slide, you are a bit fast. So if
We
you
are
can
together.
be talking slow, I
Okay.
think we can assimilate more, sir.
Okay, you say I'm fast. Okay, don't worry, I will reduce my speed. It's because of that I will reduce my
Because
speed.
the slide is not there for us to be following. So if I go following gradually, we'll be following you as you are going, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I have already apologized why this slide. My laptop just shut down and there's no light up till now. So hopefully, if there's no remedy during break time, I have to look for alternative because you have to see the slide so that you follow. But I tell you, I give you my word, I'm going to be very slow now. I'm going to be very slow so that you catch up with these ones, right? Okay, I will rewind again because I was talking about research design. And I said it's a plan, it's a structure that will guide you in the process of your research. This one helps to outline the steps you will follow, the method of your research, the procedure that will help you to address the research questions you formulated. You see, in our own research, our social research, we bring out our research questions. What are those questions that you want to address in your research? And then you bring out the objectives. Your objectives and your research questions must be what? Related. So these are essentials. And this research design will also help you to address your hypothesis. That takes me to the components of research design. What are the components of research design? Number one, every research design must have research questions or objectives. In every research, there must be objectives, there must be a goal on why you are embarking on that research. The other persons that I talked about before that said he works on the cassava and poverty reduction. His objective was to see if production of cassava can lead to poverty reduction in a study area. It is not cassava production per se, but the intent is that the income from cassava production can be used to help, when you produce cassava in high quantity and then you have enough yield from it and then you sell, you are better off. Under this government, many people are cashing out, farmers, seriously, making hell of money by selling their farm produce. So, what are these objectives of your studies? What are the questions, research questions your study wants to address? You have to clearly articulate research questions or objectives of the study to define the purpose and scope of the study. Purpose of the study and scope is important. What do you mean by the scope? Scope tells you the areas where you are going to undertake that study and what you are going to cover. What are those issues that you want to address? Like I said the other time, that you cannot conclude study, even on anything. And that's why at the end of it, you say suggestion for further study. And that is why you almost have a scope, a limitation, areas that you can cover. So that after that, you can make a suggestion. You have done your best by covering these areas. Another researcher, another person can go ahead again with the areas that you're unable to cover. Why it is important, research question and objectives, is because these questions, they will guide you in your research work so that you don't deviate. It's like giving you what? A focus. It's like giving what? A direction. This is where I am going. Guide also the selection of the methods you will use and also data collection techniques. We are going to dwell towards on this data collection technique. This is where most students find it very difficult. How do I collect a data? How do I, get my sample from a population? And in you conducting a research, your sample must be a representative of your population of study. Can I ask a question here? Hello, class, can I ask a question? Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. Go on.
Yes, we are hearing you, sir.
Okay, I want to ask a question, right?
Yes, sir.
I read that Benue State has the highest number of HIV and AIDS patients, right? That over time, the state has been taking first position in that regard.
No, okay.
Hello, Francis. I'm still talking. I've not landed.
Okay, sir.
And three local governments were sampled: Boko, Makodi, and Otukpo. Okay, the question is this: do we said that sample size, and the research is a fair representation? Benue State has how many local government? 23. Do we say that one is a good representation, of the state? Because already they've generalized. They've generalized. I remember those days during my youth service where I served far north, and people knew that I'm from Benue State. Benue State, HIV state. So I was kind of being stigmatized because of that. Okay, answer the question. You say it's not a fair representation.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not a fair representation because we have 23 local governments in Benue State.
Yes.
And each zone have the
Yes.
Zone A has 7 local government. Zone
Yes.
B with 7 local government and 9
Yeah.
in Zone C.
Yes.
Now, you decide to take 1 local government from
Yes.
each of the zone. The
Yes.
sampling to start with is not very okay because
Okay.
we are supposed to take like Zone A. You are supposed to look at the 7 local government. If you can use a percentage this thing to see how many
Mm.
local government you are supposed to sample in Zone A,
Mm.
and then see how many in Zone B and Zone C. If that is
Yes.
being done, then that result would have been fair. But for you to pick propose full sampling, which is a 3 local government you are purposely taking, it doesn't show a
Mm.
fair representation at all. That's why
Okay.
I feel it wasn't fair.
It's okay. Thank you. Thank you so very much for your opinion. Does any person have an addition?
I have another opinion.
Can I hear you where it's
I
like
have
your
another
network is breaking?
opinion.
Hello? Okay,
Oh,
I didn't
I
get what you
said
said.
I have a different opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
It's breaking, but I'm hearing
Can you hear
faintly.
me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, let me. Okay. I said in my I said in my own opinion, I think
Yes.
their their generalization may be truth, may be
Okay.
right because I think the people that carry out the research, they maybe I assume is the people giving out the drugs for HIV.
Retroviral.
I believe
Yes. Yes.
maybe is those based on the state that have that they have more patients. Maybe by giving those drugs out, they more results, and maybe the 3 local governments. But probably maybe their population. If you see in Benue, the 3 local government that was handpicked have more population in Benue than any other local government. So I believe that is part of the reason why the result is higher in Maka.
Thank you. Thank you, both of you. Thank you for your wonderful contribution. Thank you. Yes, the last speaker has a point. The last speaker has a point here. You know, the fact is that these 3 local governments selected, they are the biggest town in the state. And I'm sure in other states too, they selected 3 local governments with the highest populations. And again, when you see this, you know that this local government too, they are more or less most developed than other local governments, you know, in the state. And the same thing apply. So it may be on that basis that they generalized, they concluded that it is so. And again, we cannot rule the fact that sorry, thank God they just restored life. And my children were watching television before. Thank God. And we cannot rule the fact that somebody from another state, because Benue border with Taraba, it border with Nasarawa and all these other states. Seeing that
Kogi.
we have the information will be that in Makode, how many people collected? In Boko, how many people collected? In Otukpo, how many people collected? So their generalization, their conclusion may be based on that. But above all, what I'm saying is that in any research, your sample size must be what? A good representative of your population of study. You can see why we're arguing this one now. Smith says that it's not a fair representative because ordinarily, when you take 3 out of 23, imagine 20 and then you generalize, it's not a good representative. And again, in most cases, what they do is the use of what we call descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics, you know, that ordinarily you don't use descriptive statistics to generalize on data, but what we use, well, inferential statistics. Inferential statistics, when you use descriptive statistics like the use of frequency, or how often do these people come, how often do they collect drugs, who are those that collect, and the rest. There's a tendency of biasness. Moreover, when the sample is not what fairly represented. Now, another component, my sister is booked, another component of research design is what we call variables. Variables. In research, we make use of variable. Number one, we have what we call the independent variable. You have the dependent variable, and you have the intervening variable. The independent variable is the variable that is always manipulated. You know, you can manipulate independent variable and watch its effect on the dependent variable. For instance, the cassava production. If you want to produce the cassava production depends on the use of cassava stem. It depends on the use of fertilizer. It depends on the use of chemicals. It depends on the use of labor. All these ones that will influence the output of cassava, they are what? Independent what? Variable. Why cassava itself is what? The dependent variable. But then there are other variables that indirectly or directly will influence the output of cassava. For instance, you talk of sun. You don't know the amount of sunlight that cassava will use, you know, to produce. You don't know the amount of rainfall is there. Other weather conditions like sunlight. You know, we know from elementary biology what photosynthesis is all about, building up by the means of light is the chlorophyll. But can any person tell me that this is how much the quantity of light, of rainfall that a farmer needs? Good. I'm here. I'm here now. Thanks for your patience. Okay. Francis. Yeah. Sorry, there's interference. Okay. Can we hear me now?
So you may have to off the other device you were using earlier.
Yes.
We're seeing your slide now, and we're hearing you.
I think we are very okay now. Can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We can see your screen.
Francis, thank you. Francis, your hand is still up, except do you still want to say something? Tiokoso. Well, I will ignore this. We are talking about research design, and I talk of among the variables, variables, the use of variables. Talking about dependence and variables, and we manipulate independent variable to see what effect it has on the dependent variable. For instance, in the production of rice, I may decide not to apply fertilizer and see how that will influence the yield, of rice. The dependent variable is the outcome. The output of rice here is the outcome or a response that is measured. Also, another component is the use of what? Hypothesis. Hypothesis, is a statement that is put forward for test. It predicts relationship between the variable or the expected outcomes of the studies. And hypothesis testing is very important in the research. We draw our hypothesis from our research objective. So you need to define your research objective and then test the hypothesis. Now, in a study involving, let's say, a production of cassava and a production of cassava using fertilizer, chemicals, I may put forth a hypothesis that, okay, like the other one that our brother talked about, the cassava production and poverty alleviation. I may say hypothesis, hypothetical, like I put it forth, that cassava production has no significant effect on poverty reduction. Then I will put that statement to test. It's a hypothesis. Now, what I'm looking for now is poverty reduction and what cassava production. Is the relationship with the production of cassava as the poverty level of farmers reduced? At the end of the day, I will say this hypothesis, normally we say it is a null form. The other one is what? Alternative what? Hypothesis. hypothesis. It's a statement. So I leave it at that. Then at the end of it now, this one will tell me whether I will accept it or no. Now, another complex of research design is sampling procedure. I focus so much on sampling procedure. Number one, determine your target population. Number two, let's know your sampling frame. And then your sampling method. Why we saying the other time that the 3 local government per state was not a good representative was because we know the number of local governments in the state, which are what? 23. So now coming to select 3 local governments out of 23, leaving 20 as that, you say it is what? Is not what? A good representative. What is the target population? But remember this. There's something I want us to know. We are dealing with HIV and AIDS patients. So our target population now is what? Is what? HIV and what? AIDS what? Patients. Then you ask yourself, of the 23 local government, how many people might be infected with HIV in Makoni local government, in Katsina local government, in Ohimi local government, in Obi local government, in Kuma, in Loko, and all of them? The tendency is that these 3 local governments that were used for that research may constitute the local government with the highest number of, these people, because more or less they are in an urban area, and the life, and then in urban area you have mixed population, people from different areas, coming to settle different type and this. So determine what your sampling frame, and then what sampling method am I going to use? What is the sampling method that I will use? What is the sampling method? Somebody said that he can't hear anything. Are you people hearing me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir,
It
we are
might be
hearing you.
it
Yes,
might be the
sir.
person's network. We are hearing you, sir.
Okay. I don't know who made the post here that you can't hear anything. I don't know if I'm audible enough. So, good. At least 5 or so persons are hearing me, so I'm safe. So now we talk of the sampling method. We have different type of sampling method. Like if I want to conduct this HIV test to see the number of people that are infected in Makodi, I may say, let me use what? Purposive what sampling. What is purposive? Purposive sampling in that maybe the area you selected, they have the character or what you are looking for. So the purposive in this sense for this local government, 3 of them selected might be that they are what? In urban areas, or they may have the highest number of population or people infected that might be infected with HIV and AIDS. So I select them purposively based on the character. Now, it may be a study in Makoni local government. Let's say I'm working on rice farmers. Makoni local government has 11 council wards. And I don't think it's all council wards that might produce what? Rice, maybe in higher quantity. So I will narrow it down purposely, let's say 5 council wards. And my reason will be that because these council wards are where we have what? The highest number of farmers that produces rice. I may select again, not bank 1 or not bank 2, Fidi, Bar, one of them depends on the volume or quantity of rice that is being produced. That is purposive. Or it may be random sampling. I may decide to take anyone that I want, I take this. That is randomly. Randomly, maybe I may write the names of the 11 council wards in a box, and I decided to pick. Randomly, that is like balloting, or stratified sampling. Now, stratified sampling, this 11 council wards here, I will say I may rate them based on the population in descending order or ascending orders. 1, 2, 3. I group them 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I decide to pick 1, 1, 1 from each of the stratum. That is it. Confidence sampling, this one you take anyhow. Like the example I started the other time, that all whether left-handed people are creative or not. You know, convenience. I say 11, all the left-handed persons will constitute my sample size. Or in another sense, confidence of any person I see, I interview you, whether I belong there or not. Oh my God, what is happening? This my light has gone again. No, I may decide to take this one, based on my what? Convenience. That is it. Now, another thing of this research design is what we call data collection method. Select the appropriate data collection method and the technique. Is it a survey whereby I will use the questionnaire? That is what most of us do. They use the questionnaire to collect data from our respondent. Or is it experiment? Experiment, this one does not concern us because our experiments are the farm. Our experiments are the markets. They are the individuals that we interview. Is it through observation? Is it through interview? Is it archive research? Or combination of both? So which method are you going to use to collect your data? Normally, when it comes to data collection method, data is from two sources, either primary data or what? Secondary data. Secondary data is data that is already in what? In existence. Data you can get from National Bureau of Statistics, Food and Agricultural Organizations, Central Bank of Nigeria. They're already prepared. Why the primary data? The one that you get on your own. These are cross-sectional data. You go to the field, interview people, and then collect. Then another thing is data analysis plan. Very, very important. Your analytical techniques, it depends on the objective of your study. Specification of the data analysis technique and procedure to use to analyze the collected data. The statistical test you will carry out, qualitative codings, other analytical procedure or approaches is part of your research design. The tools of analysis you use to achieve your objectives. You have to know it as you state your objective. Now, the objectives that you're going to spell out, are they measurable? Are they measurable? Somebody work on somebody worked, did a research. How do you measure somebody's attitude? Can somebody help me? How do we measure attitude? Attitude is the attitude of a farmer. How do you measure attitude? Can somebody help me? If you have idea, or knowledge of this, you can talk. Me. Hello, class.
We can hear you, sir.
We can hear you.
Francis, you can hear me. Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Okay, I asked the question. How do we measure attitude? Attitude of a farmer. Let's say attitude of a farmer toward the use of let's say toward the use of improved variety of rice, or adoption of innovation. How do we measure attitude? Say attitude. Or how do I measure your attitude? You as a student now, how do I measure your attitude to lectures?
It's not measurable.
Cool. Thank you, Lucy. You see, so when you set out your objectives, know that whatever objectives you have must be what? Measurable. It was measurable. Statistical wise, with good statistical tools. So data analysis plan is important. Plan, how am I going to run this analysis? At times, this analysis you give them a data to analyze, it becomes a problem. You don't know because of the objectives. And some students, when your supervisor says this objective is not measurable, this one, change this and that, it becomes a challenge. It's only the guy that person is trying to provide for you. I don't know if you don't see it that way. Now, another complex research design is experimental design when it's applicable. This one, it does not concern our own research. Like the research in the laboratory, you have experimental design where we are coming to that, where you have a control variables, whereby you can manipulate. For instance, last year I went to our university teaching hospital. That is where they have the animal in Northbound. I have a cat and I needed to travel home. So I was like kind of see where I will keep that cat until I comes back. So when I went, you know, I saw in that research farm a number of cats that were confined in a place, you know, and it was a research by one of the MSC students. She was giving the special feed. So he want to see, you know, those ones now that are being given us feed, they are what? Controlled experiment. They were confined in a place. You want to see the effect of this feed on the cat compared to this other one that are, you know, that are not confined, they are eating whatever thing they feed. This one's one is experiment. You want to, these are the kind of research that are done in the laboratory, you know, but our own is what? Non-experimental research. Soon after this one, we are going to that and we discover the difference and we treat it in detail. Then you manipulate variable and control for extragenous. Extragenous are external variable. One important thing again that we need to emphasize is ethical consideration in a research design. Identification of identical issues and procedure for ensuring the protection of participants' right, participant confidentiality, informed consent, and again, you obtain approval from institution review board if necessary is important. Let me emphasize this, the need for you to protect the identity of your respondent. And that is why when we issue questionnaire, we don't write the name of the respondents. You can identify them by numbers, 1, 2, 3. And that is why in research, when you come, you don't say, Mr. This responded like this. You call names. No. The identity of the respondent must be what? Protected. That's why in that letter that I will give you as you embark on research, they say every information given to me will be what? Will be used for research purpose and will be treated as what? Confidential. And then you have a letter from head of department, from the school, anywhere, because as times you embark on research, you go to feed to get information. Some respondents, they can be very hard, very difficult. Very difficult. They thought as you are coming that the research you are sponsored maybe by World Bank or by NGO or one organizations to the other, and that you have been giving money. So they want to have their own share of the money too. Different times, different areas that I impact research that, you know, that it was I remember one time I traveled to Edo State, Benin, you know, Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research and Rubber Research Institute, far away Benin, that I needed to get information. It was difficult. It was difficult. Even when the purpose of the research were spelled out, before I got there, already they were informed. That's also person is coming. This is the information they are coming to get. Do you know, because of the importance of the research and what we're looking for, I have to cough out money. I have to cough out money before these respondents were willing to give information. At times, it's that bad. But above all, the ethical issues that we have to consider is the need for us to protect the identity of the respondent. For instance, you are dealing with HIV and AIDS patients. These are people that are stigmatized in the society. These are people that are regarded as an outcast or so. They call them different names. And by privilege, you're able to meet one of them and interview, get your information and everything that you needed. And after some time, you see that same person somewhere, either in the market square or in a church or wherever place, in the streets like this. And then you are walking with a colleague. I look at that person. You tell your colleague, look at that person. You see that person? I'm going to tell you something about him or her later. And then after I come, do you know that person is HIV? Is a HIV person? You are divulging the secret. There is what we call oath of secrecy in research. Every information given to you by the respondent is for the research purpose, and it must be treated as sure, not to be divulged, not to be given to any person. And that's why we call them respondent. So when you come to analysis, what do you present? You said 25% of the respondents, 36% of the respondents, they agree like this, 30% like this, they agree like this. Now, if it is male and female, 65% of the respondents, what? They are males. 35% are what? Females. No name, no regions indicated, no states indicated, no country indicated, no tribes to be indicated, color of the skin, whether I am fair and black, white, race, whether I am tall or short. No, protect the identity of your respondents. Now, another very important aspect of the research design is timeline and what resources. There must be what realistic timeline, and there must be what resource allocation, like the budget, the research you want to embark upon. What is the proposed budget for that research? What is your budget? And that will guide you in the number. If you are using primary data whereby you have to issue questionnaire, your budget will guide you on how many respondents you're going to select. But know that your respondent must be a good representative of the sample. Your budget and also timeline. No, research is not forever. Research is not forever. Like the other one I told us, that research that was conducted, of course, this one was experimental research involving life sciences studies that took 437 days. That is 1 year and like 2 months. And I read one that was done in UK, done in UK. This one was over 180 years of continuous data gathering. That research began 1843, according to literature. I say is the longest research ever. 180 years, meaning this person that started research died and leaving another people. They came again and continued. Look at this. This is a century and 10 decades. So your research must have a timeline of completeness, and also resources that are needed to complete the research within what specific time. You have to. Another important thing here is validity and reliability. Consideration of factors that affect the validity, that is to what extent have we been able to measure what you intend to measure? And then the accuracy, the consistency of the measurement of the study findings. What extent have you been able to measure your variables? In research, like our own research, it is difficult to measure the variables. Like the example I cited the other time, like rainfall, you cannot measure rain. Even if you do, you don't know the quantity, the volume of rain that a crop will use to mature. You cannot measure the amount of sunlight. All these ones are important. You don't know the temperature that the crop will use. And that is why when we write our research, there are some variables we call third variables. Those third variables may be because of omission. It may be because of measurement. And then we include what we call error term in a research. That is what we do. So this is research. I talked about from the beginning, characteristics, time. That time the slide was not here. You look at it, contribution to knowledge, critical thinking, empirical evidence, systemic approach, and purposeful inquiry. Any question before I go to another slide? Any question? Anobana is dated from 44. Do we
No
have
question.
question before I move to another slide?
No question, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
It's okay. Thank
please,
you.
can you come back on the validity and the reliability? Thank you very much.
Okay,
So
thank
much
you.
like that.
Okay, thank you. When we said how valid or how reliable your research is, we are saying to what extent is that study reliable? Can somebody say that your study is accurate, reliable, consistent with the previous results that are, of the related field? Of course, your study may not agree with the previous study, but when there is an expectation, for instance, like I said before, it's expected that if I use fertilizer in my rice farm, right, my expected rice yield will increase. It's expectation. And that's why we use it. And then your study, you are coming and you said that they use a fertilizer. Maybe when I didn't use fertilizer, I was able to get like 10, 50 kg of rice. And now I use fertilizer. Instead of having 10, 50 kg of rice, I'm getting 250 kg of rice. So can we say that test of your research, is it reliable? Is it accurate for one to lean on it? Is it? No. And then when you talk of a validity, the instrument of study, your measurement, did you use what is expected to use in measuring them? How did I measure rice that is harvested? I measure rice 1 kilogram. How did I measure the quantity of fertilizer used? I measure it 1 kilogram. What of chemical? I measure it in, liters. So to what extent, maybe your research, to what extent has it meet the expectation? To what extent will people rely on your research? That's what we mean, that it must be valid and must be reliable. Your result valid. You understand? So you should have it in mind that whatever I'm going to do, it must be based on validity and it must be reliable. Somebody can lay hand on this research tomorrow and say, truly, yes, a good thing has been done. Can I give you a story? Something that happened some years ago, 2015. This one concerning me. My wife went to a hospital to run genotype tests with blood group test. Already, I knew her genotype and her blood group. But when he went to that lab, what happened? The man did the test and came out. Her genotype is AS. The test result says AA. Blood group B plus. Her test result said O positive. And she doubted it. In the process of argument, she called me. I dropped down. I said, no, this is not reliable. This is not accurate. This is not valid. And the man insisted that this is his finding. I said, no, something is wrong. They cannot. Is it mutation that has happened or that has occurred? The man had a rethink and then decided to use the same reagent on himself. Behold, his genotype 2, that was AA, the test result came out to be what? AS. His blood group that was this before changed to another thing. On the second thought, he looked at the reagent he was using again and discovered that the reagent had what? Expired. So how reliable was that test? How reliable? So that's what I mean by validity and reliability. when we embark on a research, somebody can lay hands on the research and so that the results are valid, they are reliable, it can be trusted, it can be quoted anywhere without what? Manipulation. Right. Are we together?
Sir, I still have, sir.
Yes.
Hello. I have a
I'm hearing
question.
you.
I have a clarification on this validity. I want you to help me to clarify how we can strike a balance between this validity and reliability. For example, if I'm carrying out a research and I have drafted out my instrument of measurement, like the questionnaire, I'm
Yes.
looking at some certain variables that I want to measure. So
Yes.
I've researched through the literature. I've come across some certain questions that I can use to measure those objectives of my
Yes.
study.
Yes.
Now, and it is proven that these particular questions for this objective, if I use it to carry out my research, it is valid and it will be able to answer my research question. So after going into the field to conduct a pilot study or a reliability test, then I try to run a pilot study, and the Chromback alpha that is giving me maybe is very small.
Very
It's
low.
very low. Yes, it's very low. So in that case now, how do we strike a balance between this validity and reliability, knowing that the questions that you take to the field is actually accurate based on the research paper that you consult?
Good. See, thank you, Aliu. There's something we call test retest method, test retest test, to ascertain what the reliability. Now, validity of an instrument. Your supervisor satisfied that the questions in your questionnaire, they are okay and they can cover your research question. You see, the thing is this. Most students, they just, because this validity and reliability test is like copy and paste. When they come there, I passed validity and reliability. The research instruments were passed through my supervisor and experts in this department to ensure that it possesses the content and face value and that they address the questions. Now, the thing is this. Ordinarily, what happens for you to have a reliable test? You carry out this test retest method. You give out questionnaires to, like I said, 20 of your respondents, right? You watch their response, do the analysis, and see the test, retest the reliability test. Anything like from 0.7 or so, based that the test is reliable. Then, after 2 weeks again, the same respondent, you come and issue the same instrument on them, and then did the same test. This one will tell you whether the result is what? Reliable, whether it is consistent with the previous one that you have done 2 weeks ago. Ordinarily, that is the true test. That is what has to be done for you to ascertain the validity of the instrument and reliability of your instrument. But in most cases, people don't do it. It's copy and paste. When they come to that section is still in series 3.6 or 3.5, validity and reliability of research instrument. They did that. But really, you suppose watch the behavior of your respondent, whether the responses are consistent with what you have before, what you have gotten before, and subject it to test. That's what happened. But most of us, we don't do it. Just get there and do it. Of course, most people, they pass their research instruments through their supervisors and other experts to ascertain that the research question addressed the objectives of the study. But this reliability test to ensure that the response of the respondents are consistent with what they have before, they don't do it. And that is where the problem is. And there's a need for it to be done. 20 or 10 respondents get the response to this thing, then in 2 weeks' time or so, before you go to the field, the same respondent carry out the same research on them, and see what happens. Thank you. Any other question before I continue? We are 22 minutes to break. Do I continue?
Yes, sir. So you can continue.
Yes, sir. Continue.
Okay. Like patient, good luck. Continue. Susan, thank you.
You can continue, sir.
Okay. I will stop sharing this one now and then move to the meat of the matter. Meat of the matter. Good. Can we see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes.
We can see.
The other one that I dealt with all is what the T-speaking people will say, mafu. Is it mafu or mahu? That
Mafo.
is test. Mafu.
That's that.
Mafo.
Thank you, Tafa.
A tip
And
of iceberg.
it's a tip. That one is a preamble. It's a preamble. This is the meat of the matter. Advanced research method in social standard, SST. This is my name. You know, we have challenge online that time, so I couldn't introduce myself. This is my name. I'm Dr. O.M. Oga. That is my phone number and email address. Good. We're two on this course, and I believe the other lady has done justice to her own part. We shall be looking on this, the need for social work research. What do you mean by social work research? You know, a systematic process that helps us to understand and improve on our social work practice, whether policies and outcome. We investigate issues here, you know. We investigate interventions. For instance, when there's an intervention by NGO on IDP camp, how effective are those interventions? We have people that you know, that engage, that are called social workers. You know, they engage in social work. You help individuals, you help family, you help community to improve their well-being, overcome the challenges in area of psychology, in area of sociology, in areas of human rights, in areas of community development, and support for vulnerable individuals. We look at the ethics and policies of social work research, problem formulation, conceptualization, and organization. Some of these ones have been taken by my second you know.
Yeah, she stopped her sampling.
Problem formulation, personalization, authorization, validity, and reliability. You might have done this sampling. If it is sampling, that we're going to look at the sources of social work data. What are the sources? How do we collect techniques of relevant data gathering? We have quantitative and qualitative data. This is supposed to take program evaluation as well. These are learning objectives that I don't need to go into because of time. You know, because I supposed to end tomorrow, and it is 90 minutes to break now. We look at the needs for social work research. We define measurements which have been done, sampling methods that have been done. What are the sources of social work data, techniques of relevant data gathering, computerizations of the research have been done too. These are the learning outcomes. We're able to explain all this one, experimental and non-experimental research. You know, I have to do all this one. Now, we move to the meat of the matter. You know, and experimental and non-experimental research. What is experimental research? I touched briefly about it. Normally, we have two: experimental research and non-experimental research design. We say experimental research design. It looks at the problem scientifically and trying to establish the clear cause and effect of every event. It also look at what impact the independent variable has on the dependent variable. For instance, in the lab, I may decide to, run a test. And as I run that test, the specimen in the lab is called the control, the variable that's being manipulated. I subject it to other conditions and then run tests in another, lab that all the conditions are given. This one now that is control, is the one that are being manipulated. I want to see if the result of this control is the reason for the behavior of the specimen of one that I'm testing. For instance, if I have two seeds of maize, and now I decided to plant one in the open, where that one has access to good air, it has access to water, good rainfall, sunlight, humidity, and everything outside. And I decided to plant another one inside in a lab. That one in the lab now is under control. It's not exposed to more sunlight like that one outside. It's not exposed to good weather conditions like that one outside. So at the end, I want to see if at all the reason for the control for putting in this here is the why that this one might not yield like the other one. In my compound here, my son planted granite in the compound. And then these granules, he planted them under the shade. I have a coconut tree here. And this coconut tree, is providing shades, covering this granite from having good sunlight. So if you look at them, their growth is not like the one that he planted outside, where they're exposed to all good, sunlight, weather conditions, rainfall, wind, and the rest. So you can use this one under the coconut tree as what? As a control experiment. So that is what manipulation. We use it to observe human behavior and understand the social psychology of human being better. Experimental design, what it is, involve manipulating one or more variable to observe the effect on what? On another variable, while controlling potential confounding factors. And what do we do here? Number one, under experimental research design, it involves what? Control. It involves control. It involves control. What do you mean? Carefully control the experimental conditions to minimize what? The influence of the extraneous variables that could affect the outcome. In this sense, when that test is in the lab, the extraneous variable that we are trying to control are what? The sunlight and what? The rainfall from, having effect on what? On the seed that was planted in the lab. So we minimize the influence of this variable on the outcome and see what the outcome, what the yield will be. Obviously, you know that the yield of, say, the maize wort that is planted in the lab cannot be as good as the one that is exposed outside. So there is what? A control what? Environment. Number next, there is what we call random assignment. You say participants are randomly assigned to different experimental conditions to ensure that any difference observed between groups due to the manipulation of independent variable is due to the manipulation rather than what pre-existing differences between one participant. For instance, I don't know how many are we now listening to me, but I may decide that, if we are 30, the last time I checked, I think we were 40. Out of this 40, we say random assignment. Supposing we are in a hostel, without you knowing, I want to see if the effect of feeding you is telling me we have, effect on your academic performance. Randomly, I may choose 5 persons without them even knowing, give them a food different from the other participants or other students. Then I watch to see what that will be compared to your academic performance. Even compared to your growth. Also, are you better health-wise than this one? And this one is done without other person knowing, so that we see whether this treatment is the reason or the reasons of your growth, the reasons of your performance academic-wise, so that other participants might not know. So there's random assignment. Number next, there's what? Manipulation of what? Variable. The researcher deliberately manipulate one or more independent variable to observe their effect on what? On the dependent variable. Those variables that can be manipulated, they are called what? Independent variable. For instance, I can decide not to apply fertilizer on a crop. I can decide not to apply chemicals on a crop, and then observe what that one will have on the yield of my rice or the yield of my maize. I am doing what? I am controlling the growth of this maize by depriving it of what? Of fertilizer applications and using chemical to weed. We say it involves collection of quantitative data, either through measurements, through surveys, and through experimental tests. Most cases, experimental research designs are done the use of an experiment. A biologist can do this. A chemist can do this. But you and I, our research is mostly that of non-experimental design. It has another characteristic of causality inference. Design particularly useful for establishing causality relationship between variables because there is a control under which the variable are manipulated and what? Observed. Like your laboratory experiment, like quasi-experimental design field experiment. No effect of one thing or the other on another thing. Now, the essential things, we are coming to differences, but the essential things you know here is the level of control of experimental research design, whereby a researcher can what? Manipulate a variable, independence variable. I will not be able, to do that for non-experimental design. Now, non-experimental research design, it involves observing, describing phenomena. You don't manipulate anything. You don't manipulate anything. You don't manipulate any variables. You don't have control over variables. For instance, when you plant your maize, when you plant your yam, when you plant your rice in a field, you don't have control. You cannot manipulate rain. The volume of the rain that will fall day or night. At times, flood happen. You don't have control over it. At times, it may be drought. You don't have control over it. So we say it happened, it takes place what? Naturalistic setting, natural. Often take place naturalistic setting where the observer, research observer phenomenon as they occur. You observe them as they occur without what? Intervention. You cannot intervene. You don't have that control. You don't have that power over sunlight, over rain, over humidity, over wind. Therefore, you leave it. These are controlled by what? Nature. And takes place in what? Natural settings. Nobody has mystical power that can control rain. Even though we have rainmakers, it says some people are rainmakers, they can cause rain to fall and cause rain to like that. But there are limits. The bottom line is that we don't have control over this because it's takes place under naturalistic setting. Number next, we say no experiment is that it may aim to describe characteristics of population. It may also explore relationship between variables, make predictions without manipulating any variables. You don't need to manipulate, you don't need to control, you don't need to influence. You don't need, it is difficult. It is difficult for you to influence because it is naturalistic in nature. You cannot influence the amount of sun. You cannot influence the amount of rain. You cannot influence temperature. You cannot influence, even though you will know how many seeds you can plant in your farm, but how they grow, that was not for you. You know, it will involve collection of qualitative data, like the method of interview, observation, focus group, or quantitative, like the survey or the use of archival data. Then another characteristic is that there is limited control on the part of a researcher, unlike experimental design. Non-experimental research typically it lacks the level of control over variables, over conditions, making it more challenges to establish what causal relationship, because where there is no control, it is difficult for you to establish that this one is the reason for malfunctioning of this. How can you say? We say as example, observational study, what are cross-sectional studies, longitudinal studies, what cross-sectional studies, these ones that studies that carry out within, a certain time frame. Like all the study we are going to embark on this research is going to be cross-sectional studies, within a certain time frame, or it may be longitudinal study. When we talk of a longitudinal study, you collect data repeatedly, on the same subject, or the same respondent over time, like for instance, if a student is in 100 level, I can monitor the performance of that student from 100 level to 200 level, 300 level, 400 to 500 level. If his program is this, I run to 600 level over time, and then monitor his performance. The same group of students over time. That is what longitudinal survey. The other one is panel. It may be, if it is panel data, you collect data, like I said, from individual, from a family, even from states, from a country, over a several period, like 10 years data, and you observe to see changes. If there is anything, you also the salaries of a worker, you can observe over a period of 10 years and see how that workers behave, whether the salary increment leads to motivation, leads to performance of this. These are examples of a non-experimental research design. When you say case study is something that happened, and then you want to review it. What happened? What went wrong? You learn from the survey with the use of questionnaires, the interview method, and the correlational study. In correlational studies, you want to establish what the relationship between what variables. How correlated are they? Do they correlate? Do they relate positively? Do they relate negatively? Or there's no correlation at all between the variables? These are, non-experimental research design. Now, when we compare experimental versus non-experimental research design, one difference between the two is what major thing that we want to know is what level of control over the independent variable. Because in experimental research, you as a researcher, you have what complete control over the independent variable, and then you can test it. You can test your hypothesis. You can select participants randomly to a condition that is control, and then you call them what treatment group. For instance, if there is a new drug, and the patients have been on the drug before, drugs usage before, we can see the effect of a new drug, which is the independent variable, the one you want to control now, right? On what? On the blood pressure. Blood pressure is the dependent variable. What is the effect? These persons have been on this drug before over time, and then the new drugs now comes into effect. Let's see the effect of this new drug. Does it lead to the lowering of the blood pressure, or does it make it to remain the same? The blood pressure here is what can be used to either increase it or decrease it or make it stable as it were. Also, the use of fertilizer on what? On plant what? Growth. Plant here now is the dependent variable. Why fertilizer is what? Is the independent variable that can be manipulated. You can choose to apply fertilizer on a crop. You can choose to give the new drug to the patients with high blood pressure. You know, and in this case, plant growth is what? Is the dependent variable. Another, cases in non-experimental research, the researcher will observe variable in their natural state without manipulating them. You don't know how to control, and you don't have control over the variables. You cannot manipulate them. You cannot assign them randomly, to control or the treatment. Now, if we want to examine the relationship between income and educational level, what happened? I know too well too that with the level of income here now will be the independent variable. If you have high income, it's expected that your educational level will also increase. Your children will be what? In good schools. So you can see what effect, what relationship the income, the increase in income, decrease in income we have on what? Good education or education of your children or even education of yourself. Each and every one of us desire a good life. Two of us, class. Simeon.
So everybody deserves a better life.
Everybody's defining a better life. But you are limited by what? By your income. If Emiloko, what is it called? Our president, Tinubu or whatever, decided to increase our income, some of us will not be here where we are. When we were to start this class, I have challenge of light because I don't have solar in my house. I was relying on what? The power from power JEDEC, Georgia Electricity Distribution Company. And until it came, I could not. So if I have it, I can have that, and then everything's seamless. Right. Another difference is the causal relationship between the variable. Exercising a high degree of control in an experiment, it helps to eliminate alternative explanation for the changes in the dependent variable, thereby establishing a causal relationship. In non-experimental results, it is not possible for us to establish a relationship because there are other variables it depends also on rain. How do we isolate rain? Even if you apply fertilizer, even if you apply chemicals, even if farmer weeds, they are variables that you don't have control over, natural factors that are under the dictates of the nature. That is it. So you cannot establish that relationship, say this one, the way it is that is done experimental is that you will know, like the case I started feeding students, some category of students with a good feed and another one, you will know that the reason for this is because of this feed. Like the experiment, regarding those cats in the teaching hospital, you know that it's because of this special feed. That lady told me how much she spent weekly. Like, that was December last year, that she spent like 10,000 naira or so weekly to feed those cats. And you can imagine the financial implication. So there you see. So you know that any day they are start, and then they measure their weight daily to see the gain in weight. So with that, you will know that the weight in gain is as a result of this mean. So any day they are not fed, weight what decreases. But in non-experimental research design, it is not possible. What are the benefits of experimental research design? Number one, you'll be able to control different factors so that you can test accuracy of your hypothesis, meaning you can completely control the outcome of your research when you use the right methods. You also conduct the research in short amount of time. You can get accurate result quickly. for business that need to make quick decision about product. What do I mean here? Shortest time, you know, that is to test the acceptability of your product in a market, whether it is accepted. Like this now, if Mr. Francis have a bakery, what do? I decided to produce small bread and send to the market. I have my marketer, they go down to the market and say, have you seen this bread before? Test it and see. You know, if they taste and it is okay, short time, what happened? I will go into massive production because I've gotten the result already, what customers want. Now, it's 12 o'clock. Are we breaking now to reconvene by 1 o'clock? Class rep.
No, sir. We'll continue.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
So let us continue and end by 1.
Yes.
And you will be making orders coming back that there's no break.
I think it's better we go on break and come back by 1. Let's work with the structure of the class, please.
Let's work with the structure of class.
Let's go for break. I'll come back. Thank you.
Okay, the popular opinion is that you should go on break and come back by 1, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We'll convene by 1.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this time we spent together now. I apologize again for, no sharing of slides from the beginning because of light related issues. But no problem. We are here and okay. No
apology
problem.
accepted,
so we will end this here and come back by 1.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll come back by 1.
Are we together?
By 1.
Yes, sir. We are
Yes,
together.
sir. We are together.
Yes, sir, we are, sir.
Okay. It's okay. My Abuna is misbehaving. No problem. See you by 1 o'clock then.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Okay, sir.
Is Beatrice there? Is Beatrice there? Class, Beatrice there. You can end the meeting.